you know why I'm called the Valedictorian? I'm sure a few of you do, and those who paid attention in Latin 1 should be able to at least piece together the meaning of the word. I'll tell you what valedictorian means, but not until the end of my speech. In the meantime, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my beloved class of 2009. The author of Hebrews tells us that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Most of us have memorized that verse at one time or another, but I'm struck by the verse that follows it. For by it the people of old received their commendation. Phrases such as heroes of the faith and keeping the faith reinforce the idea that the source of endurance and the basis for congratulations at the end of a long journey is the virtue that we call faith. 2009, you have not received a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, of love, and of self-control. And by faith, you have lived out this spirit. By faith, you have earned your commendation. By faith, Ben Zerline directed a unique vision of A Midsummer Night's Dream. By faith, Corey White and Geneva Galloway produced it. By faith, Sarah Hill made beautiful, imaginative costumes for it. Starting with no money, no stage, few props, little time, and with an assurance of that which they hoped for, they created a show that wowed audiences and brought together the whole grade. By faith, Sarah Neff founded the movement her first year as a student at LRCA. Rallying around the banner of showing Christ's love to the whole world, especially the widows and orphans, the naked and the hungry of Africa. She, Matt Henry, Connor Weisbecker, and many others raised thousands of dollars with ping pong tournaments, penny wars, male beauty pageants, and charity golf events. This money has been used across the globe to support World Vision missionary staff, microcredit loans, well building, and many other projects of love. By faith, Anna Taylor obeyed when she was called to leave Arkansas to dwell in a foreign land, Africa. Acts 1:8 commands us to be God's ministers in Jerusalem, Judea and Samaria, and as far as the ends of the earth. To the Taylors, this is not a pretty phrase, but rather a standing order, one that they followed in faith. By faith, Jared Elmquist endured as his body was racked with illness and pain his sophomore year, suffering not for sin in his life, but, like Job, for his own refinement and purification, he bore his trial with fortitude, trusting in the one who has experienced our every weakness. By faith, Griffin Kuhn threw George Kress a touchdown pass against Magnolia after weeks of his leg being in a cast. By faith, he had fought the frustration and the doubt that he experienced after his leg was broken in a scrimmage. And by faith, he learned God's plan for his life, for him to go to Wheaton College this fall. By faith, Emma Gist and Katie DePriest and David Fitzgerald and Miriam Daniel buried their fathers. Despite the pain, despite the confusion, they took comfort in Christ's utter defeat of death on the third day, knowing that he who is the hope of every believer has the last laugh over death. Death is now like a scorpion with its tail cut off. It is powerless against the faith that we have in Jesus Christ. Emma, Katie, David, and Miriam, in their incorruptible love for God, taught all of us faith as they bore their crosses in middle school and high school. And what more shall I say? For time would fail me to tell of Tim Nissen, Michael Thompson, Michael Zust, Austin Lynch, Patrick Grace, Grace Quay, Chase Rackley, Lauren Odell, Barrett Larson, Christy Lenhart, Hannah Watson, who, along with many others that I have not named, became more than conquerors in Christ. Yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, we've had our corrupted human natures to deal with, and yes, we've stumbled more times than we care to remember. But God has graciously strengthened us to get back up each time. Therefore, as the author of Hebrews writes, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race marked out for us. Class of 2009, we have been running, and we will keep running until we die, but we have the chance to pause for a moment and exult in the completion of a leg of the journey. We can celebrate the memories that we have built for years. We were the last class to do a banner chapel in 5th grade. The first class not to go to Vicksburg in 8th grade. Mrs. Walker's last middle school English class, the first class to go on a freshman retreat instead of a float trip, the first class to do Mr. LRCA, the first class to make it to 3 consecutive Quiz Bowl championships, the first class to bring LRCA twin championships in girls and boys soccer, and according to Amy Lepine Peterson, the smartest class that Walnut Valley, Little Rock Christian, has ever seen. Now, there's more I would love to say about you, 09, but brevity is the soul of wit, so I'll bring this speech to a close the way I promised. The word valedictorian comes from two Latin words, vale, which means goodbye, and dicere, which means to say. But I do not feel that it is my job to say goodbye to 09. I see myself more as the hasta la vista-torian. And all I'm going to say is see you later. So 09, as you go off throughout Arkansas and to South Carolina and Tennessee and Louisiana and Mississippi and Illinois and Alabama and Texas and Oklahoma, spread the faith that you've learned here at LRCA. And when we see each other again, at parties and homecomings and weddings and reunions and baby showers and retirement parties and funerals and in heaven, I pray that we have 1,000 more stories to tell each other about how God worked in our lives through faith. So now, in the words of our twice English teacher, Teresa Walker, I love you very much. Dismissed.